Hello everybody, this is Mr. Walsh and I wanted to show you an example of an arc length project showing a walking, running, or biking trail. And for me in particular, I want to show you a running trail that mattered to me. So for those of you who don't know, I am the Bergen Tech boys lacrosse coach. During tryouts, I wanted the players to run a timed 2 miles, but all I have is a soccer field where we practice. And I didn't know how many times the players needed to run around the soccer field in order to run approximately 2 miles. So naturally, I decided to use calculus. So first, let's get some measurements of the soccer field using Google Maps. So I sent everyone a link which should get you to this page. What's going to happen is you will add a layer to this shared page and create your own maps, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So there's already a layer here for me. I'm going to rename it. So I clicked on those 3 dots and went to rename Mr. Walsh's path. That'll work for now. And the thing I want you to know that's important here is you should be logged on using your school account. Everyone is able to log on to Google using their school account, and that's the only way you could access and edit these maps. Okay, and that's what you'll see at the end of the day, all of our different paths along this left side. So I want to find a path at Overpeck Park, so I will click Overpeck up here. It comes up right away, and I click there. Now I'm going to want to zoom in on those soccer fields. Just so you know, I do happen to have the satellite map. In case that's not coming up for you, over here where it says base map, you click this little arrow and it's the top middle that will get you the satellite map. That's probably what you're going to want to use to find the path of your choice. So I'm going to zoom in over here, bottom right. I click this plus, zoom, zoom, zoom. Up, I can see the soccer fields I practice at right over there. Let me zoom a little bit further, and here we are. This is the soccer field where the lacrosse team practices. So I need to find some measurements in order to be able to do the calculus I need. So what I'm going to need is the measurements of the soccer field and the measurements of the goal, because what I want the players doing is running down the sidelines and around the soccer goals on each side. Okay, so let me find these measurements. Well, up here, this is a little ruler. I click this ruler, and that's going to allow me to find measurements. So if I click on one corner of the screen and I scroll down to the other corner, I could see that the side length is about 360 feet. So let me just double click and shake things around there. I click this ruler again, and I'm going to find the width of the soccer field. Click and click. You can see it's about 240 feet is the number I'm going to use. So once again, let me click off of that. Now, in order to get the soccer goal length, I'm going to zoom in a little bit further. I would zoom in more, but I actually can't. So now I click the ruler, and to find the depth of the soccer goal, I scroll down the side, and I can see it's about 10 feet. That's what I'm going to use for my measurements. And I happen to know the width of a soccer goal, you know, where you kick the ball into, is 24 feet. And just to show you the accuracy of this tool, you could see it gets to 24 feet. So that's going to be with my soccer goal. So I'm going to use that for my math. Now, in order to save this path so that you all could see it, and this is what you are going to do for all of your paths, I click over here to where it says draw a line, and I click the add line or shape. And what I'm going to do is we're going to be able to create a polygon, which will be the shape of our path. Now, if I click here, you know, I click once, and every time I click, it will add a new line. So I click, and you could see that's what happens. So it becomes a little bit annoying if you want to make curves. I get that, but it's not that big of a deal. You could handle it. So let me get this done. And I keep clicking. Try to make things a little bit curved. And when I work my way around here, I connect there, it makes a polygon. I'm going to call this polygon Mr. Walsh's path. I will save. And another neat thing about this, so this path, we will have all these paths along the sideline over here, every one of our paths, and in these paths we could click there and you could actually add a video, and this is what I'm going to want you to do. As a matter of fact, this video that we're filming right here, I will actually save onto this polygon I made. So I click add image or video, and this will come up. What happens is we could upload our video to YouTube. You could use that same school account through Google to upload a video to YouTube, and once I have that uploaded, I find the URL, I paste the URL here, and bam, we will now have a video attached to our path. So this path is all set. It's something you would see along the side. It's something you could see now actually with the link I sent you. So now that we have all the math, now that I have the path saved, let's use these measurements to do the math. Okay, so from what we just did, the length of the soccer field is 360 feet, the width is 240 feet. The depth of the goal is 10 feet, and the width of the soccer goal is 24 feet. Now, my idea, my hypothesis, is that the players will run along the sideline, and then they will run a parabolic path around the goals. Along the sideline and a parabolic path around the goals. So in order to find the length of this lap, well, the sidelines are easy enough. That would be 2 times 360 feet. But in order to find the parabola lengths, well, I need to know the length of the parabola before I do 2 times a parabola length. And that's where the arc length formula is going to come into play. So this is what I did. I took the parabola parts and I put it on a coordinate axis. The x-axis is along the soccer end line by the goal. The y-axis splits that soccer end line in half, and I was able to make coordinates to all the key points. The corner points of the sidelines are negative 120, 0 and 120, 0. They are 240 feet away from each other, those 2 points, just like the length of the width of the soccer field. I created the points negative 12, negative 10, and 12, negative 10 to be the corners of the goal. The negative 10 makes it 10 feet away from the end line, the corners of the goal, and then the negative 12 and 12 makes sure that the goal is 24 feet apart, and it makes sure it's right in the center of the field, kind of symmetric about the center of the field. So with these 4 points, I could find a parabola, the parabola that best matches these 4 points. In our case, we could get a parabola that actually goes to these 4 points. It might not work with all of your different paths, which is okay. You find the best approximation. So what's going to happen is I could use these 4 points and put them in a program that can find quadratic regression. Your calculators could find quadratic regression. I will also, I sent you a link to how to download a program called Graph and how to find different regression using this program. That's another good option as well. And when I used that for these 4 points, I found that the formula, the equation of my parabola is f of x, as you can see right here. And for the arc length formula, as you know, we need the derivative. So I found the derivative and I put that right under. So now we need to find the length of this parabola. Well, the arc length formula is above. This is what we've already talked about. And the parabola length, our limits of integration will be from negative 120 to 120. I put the derivative we found in the previous slide right inside here. And when I do that, I find that the length of this parabola is about 241 feet. So interestingly enough, by running around the goal instead of running directly along the sidelines, all you're doing is adding about an extra foot to your running. So now I found the parabola length. So I could find the lap length by 2 times sideline plus 2 times parabola length. That ends up getting me 1,202 feet. If I want the laps per mile, I have the number of feet in a mile divided by the number of feet in a lap. That gets me about 4.39 laps. Now remember, I wanted my players to run 2 miles, so I do 2 times 4.39. That gets me about 8.78 laps. Now in lacrosse, conditioning is always important, so I figure have the players run a little bit extra, keep that conditioning up. And my conclusion is I want the lacrosse players to run 9 laps if I want them to run about 2 miles for this kind of times 2 mile I needed. Okay, so this is an example of something you can do with your arc length project. You don't need to copy exactly what I did. You can make it your own. The only requirement is you make a path, and at least some part of that path you need to create a formula for some part of the path and use our arc length formula to find its length. Okay, please look at the other links I had. I sent a link to show you real quickly how you could work with a free video editing program called VideoPad. I sent you a link on how to download and use a program called Graph for quadratic regression and also other regression. And of course, I sent you the link to the Google Maps where we are going to be putting all of our maps. So I really look forward to seeing all of your running paths, walking paths, or biking paths all throughout Bergen County. And I think it'll be neat for all of us to see where we could run. All right, thank you very much.